Hello. Hello, Helen. Hello, Arabian.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
hey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I brought some croissant for you.
Oh,
So
thanks
I've
for
got,
the extra
in
15
I got my
minutes.
orange juice. I'm ready.
it's only NFTs, guys. Sorry for that. I'm so glad we made it, and to have you both, because reading about this topic of artist entrepreneurs, I mean it. You pretty much embody what we are going to talk about, and so we have only 20 minutes, but I guess this is quite enough to not to dive into the topic, because it could last forever over a beer or some kind of a carrot juice. But what I wanted to do, because I guess our crowd today, some may be familiar with who you are or what you do, but maybe some will not. So first of all, I would like you to introduce yourself and briefly tell to our people here, what does it mean for you, from your perspective, to this concept of an artist entrepreneur? Is it artist investing in other ventures? Is it about being independent, do it yourself? Because it could be quite fuzzy for some people. It could be just buzzwords. So you have both a quite extensive perspective here. So Helen first, because from the Rattle in LA, tell us first who you are.
So I run the US arm of the Rattle, which is a unique kind of incubator in that we take in both artists and music startups. So everything from deep tech all the way to folk singers. We've got the full range. We started in about 2017. We opened up our second space in LA, first space in London, second space in LA. About just over a year ago, just at the start of the pandemic. And we have a community of about 140 projects that we're working on. That's about 2/3 artists, singers, producers, and 1/3 young music companies. And the reason we have that specific mix is that we strongly believe that the way forward for artists is hand in hand with technology, and having that mindset of entrepreneurialism rub off at an early stage is really important. I mean, dive into all the boring statistics that from the market that we're all familiar with, but right now there's no competing for a slice of the existing pie. You have to be growing the pie in some way, and that's an entrepreneurial skill. So that's what we do. We take really talented artists and really talented founders, put them together, and help them build new stuff.
Yeah, I like the idea of building stuff as a kind of a way to sum up, but also I would say also to be quite punk in the way, because the artists, they are quite game changers, and taking risk is about also their daily endeavor. And you, Arabian, tell us. So first, you are pretty much the kind of perfect example of the artist entrepreneur by design. So tell us a bit about not only your background, but how do you see this type of endeavor, artist entrepreneurship, mixed in one journey?
Yeah. So for those who don't know me, I'm Arabian Prince. I'm one of the founding members of the rap group NWA, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame rap group NWA. I got to throw that out there every now and then, But anyway, born and raised in Compton, so born in the inner city, and I was sparked with a passion to do technology at a really young age, at 15 or 16, by my uncles and cousins, and they got me into electronics first, playing with synthesizers and then computers, and I used that to work on music and sequencing, and then later on taught myself coding and animation. And when we started making music and I started getting royalty checks, and I'm like, I got money now, so I can go buy stuff. So I started buying computers and getting more and more into it, and found out that, hey, this is something I can make money on. Actually, this is something I can make more money on than music. So I kind of got into both worlds, and, fast forward to today, been into video game production, animation, hardware tech for video games. I own a company called Innovate Next Open Labs, which is giving access to inner city kids and youth to learn technology and create. And we just started something called Incubate Next. And I would love to talk to you over the Rattle again, because, here's a little side note. the Rattle is actually in the building that I teach my music class at before COVID. So right before COVID hit, I was teaching the music business class over at Point Blank, and that's where the Rattle is. Am I correct? Yes.
Correct.
So, yeah, so we have to talk after, because we just started something called Incubate Next, which is not really an incubator. We are a company that helps inner city startups and communities and kids to fulfill their dreams. We will help them go raise money, and then we will place them with people like the Rattle or other real incubators to help incubate their project. But they come in already having some money behind them and some expertise to help them grow. So those are the kinds of things that I'm getting into right now.
Wow, super inspiring. And what I like when you give us a quick snapshot, both of you, of what you do, is just it's kind of what we have special in the music business, but let's call it ecosystem, is this kind of idea of everything is possible, but also inclusion. So from the inner city to artists working with tech people, I guess this is quite special and quite new. And when I started in the music business 2001, technology was pretty much pursued as a threat, right? And now I would say that potentially some of the most powerful music companies are driven by technology, and they are showing the way. So my question here is about something I hear a lot when I'm talking to music tech people. Beside of disruption versus or artists becoming more and more independent thanks or via technology, do you make a difference between being independent or being in control? Because for me, it's quite different. And what defines the path for you to go a little bit further and become an entrepreneur? Because if you stay indie just because you have digital distribution, it doesn't make you an entrepreneur at the end of the day. So how do you help them at the Rattle, for instance, to cross the threshold and become more entrepreneurial in their approach? How do you bring them to that to that spirit, like talking about money, talking about investment, talking about technology, and not only like my music is my only and my one and only concern? How do you bring them to do that?
Yeah, it's a really important distinction, and we talk about it a lot. There's a lot of us out there that are interested in pursuing the independent route, and we work with Yvan and Distributor. We work with all those distributors, and there's a great path now if that's what you want to do. You want to exist in the existing business model, but you want to own your masters and decide where you spend your money. It's not necessarily going to get you as far, we don't think, as reinventing your business model completely. Like I said, even in that scenario where you own everything and you're independent, the competition, the difficulty in getting through the noise when you're competing against major label artists with huge marketing budgets makes it incredibly difficult when you're doing things in an independent way. So our approach is to say there's an accepted route to market, there's an accepted business model for copyright and how to exploit it with music. And what we try and do is say, well, that's always going to be an option. If you, in any other industry, you wouldn't decide your business model before you'd made your products. You'd make the products, then you'd test the market, then you'd create, figure out the best route to market for you specifically in your products. Music is a weird one where it's all kind of decided for you in either in a record deal or a distribution deal or a publishing deal. So it's not to say that streaming on Spotify or selling t-shirts on tour is not going to be a major income stream for you, but it may not be the biggest one. And what we try and do is make sure there's enough room for each new artist to experiment with different customer groups, different routes to market, different models, to make sure what they're building is customized and really suits them specifically, not just the general blueprint of what a music career should look like.
And you're Urban Peace. Do you see this kind of, because when I hear Helen talking about all of this, for me it's not quite normal, but do you see the youngest artists being, let's say, familiar with all that business discussion, or are afraid to go there, or I think for them it's not any problem to talk about segmentation, targets, and potentially
Sure.
business?
Yeah. It's
because
definitely a different language. Some people are very comfortable with it, some people aren't. It's not rocket science. And I think if you have one of those brains that's able to sit with your art and make something really meaningful culturally, that's unique, and then take a step back and see it as a product that you need to get to market, that's how you'll be best placed to, what we describe, kind of build yourself a custom machine that will make you go faster than everybody else.
Great. I have a question for you, Robin, regarding, because in the room here, we have, I guess we have a bunch of investors and tech people who may have used to look at music as some kind of weird thing or risky business, or not some place to invest in. Like, music, this is quite the worst place to put some money. I know that you are an advisor in several startups, and you are also potentially a part of investment round. So, how do you approach that, and what would you tell to invest in regards of the key music trends from now moving forward? And second question: do you think this is the right time from now to involve artists in the loop of those kind of investment? Because usually this is quite a discussion between investors and the startup talking about the artist, but without the artist around the table. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I think maybe this is time for artists to jump in and be there when we are talking about building a business, like Jay-Z becoming part of the board of Square. I don't know, but he's kind of a top level example. But anyway, first question: you talking to an investor, what would you say to him about music?
I would say this: the musicians now, like back in the day when I was coming up, musicians mostly wanted to just work on their craft. They artists, I'm an artist. I don't care about business. But the first thing I tell my students is it's called music business. Like business, there's a business right behind the word music. So you gotta focus on both words. You can't just do the music and forget about the business. You got to do the business if you want to make money. If you want to be an artist and you don't care about money, that's fine. But if you want this as a career, you need to take care of your music business. And what I say to that is, moving forward to today, because of social media, a lot of artists have figured it out now. They're going, wait a minute, I can make money doing me, being this artist. Like I can go on TikTok, I can go on Instagram, I can go on Twitch and do these things. And now I have a business. So I've got to check that box to do my social media. I have to go over here and do my promotion. I have to do my marketing. So they're becoming business owners in their own right. And what I say to investors for the second question is this: all of the artists now are, because of the pandemic, are switching gears and learning how to create their own business structures now, right? Give you a quick example, and this is not a plug. Ice-T reached out to me, and they have a cartoon now, like with a bunch of A-listers that's about to come out, and they've brought me in on that. And they're looking for investors. And I mean, they've got Dr. Dre doing the music, and Ice-T and Lil Wayne and, Snoop Dogg, all these A-listers in this cartoon, which is going to be a massive $100 million hit. So now investors are going, wait a minute, maybe there is something to this music thing, because it's not just selling records anymore. It's selling properties. It's selling, merchandise, and like I said, cartoons and other things out there. It's turning into a different world for the music industry now.
Yeah, I think now music is really part of, and at the forefront of the creator economy, which is booming like never before. So guys, in the room, investors in the room, forget about deep tech. You have your next move right now.
Well, I'll say one more thing about this too. What I forgot to mention is, if you look right behind me right here, you see this little goat face on this little box. I actually started a computer company called Goat just because of the pandemic, because all of the DJs and performers can't perform. They couldn't go do shows for over a year. They all hopped on social media. They're trying to stream. They're on Twitch, but they couldn't do it on their MacBook. So I created a PC company that makes streaming PCs for all of the people who want to stream now. And I created a brand new company out of this. And I've got everybody from Questlove to Z-Trip. All of the major stars are using my system to stream. And that came out of thin air. And I'm an artist. There you go.
there you go.
You talked about a really interesting point there, and especially something we're super aware of when we're talking to investors, that we have to be honest, and the places people are making money are not really from traditional copyright businesses. You said it yourself, when you made your name in music and then you made your money, in other areas. When we look at people doing merch lines or tequila lines or making a PC company, the problem is that the fundamental music business doesn't offer the scale or the returns that investors are looking for. So when we're out talking to investors, we're hardly ever talking about just music. We're talking about all of these ancillary creator industries that when musicians come along and say, I have a brand now, how can I use that to my advantage? It's usually going into different verticals.
I guess same for the platforms, because if we look at Spotify moving in the podcast space and now in the audio chat space, social audio, with the acquisition of Locker Room, here we go. I think music can be like a tremendous entry point to a larger scale, let's say fan-driven business. Even if there is a big movement, pretty hard investment rush, let's say, on rights, right, as we speak, like billions and billions of dollars being invested or ready to be invested on rights, like in the stock exchange. But anyway, so I guess this is quite close to the end. Maybe let's talk about music for a second, for people, because music technology, I guess. This is just the beginning for everyone to explore new way to create, monetize, and share music. But talking about artist entrepreneurs, and which are the ones, apart from Arabian Pins here with us, but who inspired you the most with their craft, but also the way they manage their career? I would say for myself is David Bowie from ages ago, but you see, like this kind of personage that really embodied this artist entrepreneur with his music and also the way to manage his career. You, Helen, maybe?
Oh, there's so many good examples of weird and wonderful, innovative things that people have done over the years. I mean, Bowie bonds were a pretty seminal moment. I think the first Pay What You Can Radiohead exploration was really interesting. I've seen, I love the really weird art. So when Bjork went into VR, that was super special for me. But, we've seen people do innovative things kind of all over the shop. And I think when it's most interesting is when they really tie it into their art message, rather than, hey, I've made a song and now I'm going to NFT it. Or I don't know if anyone else has thought about talking about NFTs, but that's just me. I think the artists that really can make a statement with their products, rather than slapping their logo on something, those are the ones that really get me excited.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, because, for instance, Radiohead, I think the more they went to innovating the way they release music, the less we were caring about the music itself. But anyway, that's my point of view. You are like potentially current artists that inspires you, or artists from the past. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have to say I have two. One would be Ice-T. He's my buddy, but I have to go Ice-T because if you look at Ice-T, he's created this thing where he's the same guy. He's never changed. It's Ice-T. But now he's a police officer. Now he's doing like Tide commercials. Like this guy is doing like car commercials. He has rebranded himself so many different ways, but he's still the same guy with the same message, right? And we talked about it the other day, and he said, look, people know what they get when they get me, right? But they still hire me because people believe me when I talk to them because they know I'm not going to go so far left. If I tell, like Ice says, if I tell you to buy Tide and use it, people go, okay, Ice, I'm going to buy Tide and I'm going to use it. So he uses his brand in a way to sell products without selling out. And that's what I like about him. And also going to somebody more modern is, I would have to say, it would be, man, there's so many new artists that are out there doing their thing, but I would say, you know, I've got to keep it hood still. Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar for me has, coming from Compton, you know, everybody expects when you come from the hood, you do hood music. Kendrick Lamar came from Compton and he changed the game. He's got a, what, did he get a Pulitzer or one of those nice prizes or something, really, really prestigious awards? And it's kind of like he changed the narrative, and now he's doing so many other things behind the scenes in technology and in, you know, startup businesses and things like that. So I applaud people who come from the music industry and get it and figure it out and try to broaden their horizons.
Nothing more to say on my side, because it's about, yeah, it's your horizons and creativity at the end of the day, and yeah, engaging with your fans in whatever the form it is. So
yeah, I think that's the most important thing for us is we, just like as an artist, you're focused on being the first to whatever sound you're creating. We think the same needs to apply when it's business. You've still got to be the first one with the idea. Jumping on the bandwagon isn't going to get you anywhere with music or in business. So
yeah, and then and then there is a long way to remain at the top, because also like you said about Ice-T, this kind of journey, this is pretty much incredible, to stay at the top and reinvent himself, but stay true to himself and stay the same. Yeah, and doing a great metal, by the way. Yeah, like because Ice-T, wow, what a band!
Oh no, he just got a Grammy for Body Count, and he was like surprised. He was like, I didn't know. He had no idea, because nobody would give a Grammy to Body Count, and they did. So congrats to him.
I'm glad we talk about metal for a second, because anyway. Thanks, Helen and Arabian Prince. Thanks for taking the time from LA. I wish I could visit you pretty soon once this craziness is gone. But really, thanks. Keep rocking it for me, and we stay in touch. And for everyone here in the room, listen to some good music. It's good for your health inside the brain, and it may help you to do some good business on the way. But take care, guys, and talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.